Homework. I'm gonna just take that off. All right. So I know y'all probably can't see me, but yeah, I ain't gonna be doing going over the homework too much. I definitely want to talk about a breaker structure. That's a lot of people been asking me for. Like, I got like 4 requests on a breaker structure. So we gotta talk about that today. I'm not gonna go through the homework too much. I'm just trying to answer questions and go over this breaker structure stuff. So I'm gonna wait like 1 more minute and then we just gonna get started. Man, this week, bro, this week, I don't even understand. I ain't gonna lie. I don't understand why we didn't get as many setups as we did. And setups are happening later in the day, like 12:30. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if anybody's seen the setups that was happening, but they was happening later in the day, like super later in the day. Like, we'd show up at 8, it'd be a setup 11:45. It's like, you feel me? Like, we got shit to do. But I'm just wait 1 more minute, then we're gonna get started though. So it's NC closed on Monday and Tuesday. Somebody did message me. I'm not sure. I gotta check with Hanko Trade on their website. I'm not sure if they close on Monday or Tuesday. I gotta check. But I know Friday was a holiday. I didn't even know that it was a serious holiday, like Good Friday. Like, but since I guess Easter is tomorrow, I guess they just wanted to, make it Friday a holiday, I guess. All right, we could just get started. So the homework was a regular support / liquidity grab setup. I mean, this is not nothing new. Some of y'all just gave me like completely different homework, but other than that, the homework was very simple. It wasn't really nothing to it. Yep, it's Easter weekend. Yep. But yeah, honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't even want to go through the homework. If you had a hard time with the homework, just DM me and I could just help you because I don't want to. You feel me? Let's just go through the stuff that I want to talk about. So today's webinar, we got to talk about a breaker structure, man. I don't really talk too much about breaker structure, but that's definitely important. A breaker structure is like, I mean, we already know that we take like the supply and demand setups with the gaps or whatever, but if it have a breaker structure with that, that can just add more confluence to it. I mean, I don't know if anybody, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody on here know what market structure is, like higher highs, higher lows. So the market, we know the market move in waves. This is not nothing new. It moves in waves like this. And as soon as it do a break like that, that is basically it's changing its direction. So if you see a breaker structure like this, is breaking this low, and then you'll wait for a supply to happen to drop. That's what we're about to be talking about today, because as of recently, we have been taking setups that haven't been having no breaking structure. I mean, some of them do, but for the most part, we haven't. So I just want to talk about that today, because once you see like, okay, this demand setup or this supply setup have a breaker structure, it's going to give you a little bit more confidence. Somebody DM me, what was that, Wednesday? And they said like, man, I felt really confident about taking this trade. Like it literally looked something like this, where it was a breaker structure and then it was a demand sitting right at the bottom, had a gap on it, tap right into it, reverse, easy win. So that's what we're about to talk about today. So if you're new, if you're on this webinar right now and you're kind of still like new to like this trading style, or you don't understand market structure, you have to understand market structure. Like it's essential. So how I got really good at spotting market structure was the line chart. I always talk about that. The line chart is key. When you're seeing a breaker structure, I would base it off of the wicks or the candlesticks, but I will look at the line chart just to see like, okay, is it really closing above it? But overall, me personally, I don't really care if it wicks above, but it don't close above. That, in my opinion, that is a breaker structure, in my opinion. So let's just go through some setups. So, okay, so right here. Now, when it comes to a breaker structure, me personally, for me to take a reversal, I need a break of structure, or you will want to spot the nearest high being broken or the nearest low being broken. So right here, I had to take off the EMAs because EMAs is going to throw you off. I'm pretty sure it's going to be EMAs right above here. So we're just going to take that off. So if you're trying to catch a reversal, or you're trying to be confident into seeing if a demand will hold, especially the high probability ones with the gaps, if it breaks some structure like this high right here, and go to the line chart. If it breaks this area right here, and it comes back into this area right here, and this area also have a gap onto it, that is going to increase the chances of it winning. Okay. A lot of setups that actually it was a NAS setup on Monday. It had a breaker structure, came back to the supply, dropped, and then the New York Stock Exchange came. But pay attention to the recent high or recent low being broken to see if you want to take that setup or not. Besides me going over breaker structure today, I also wanted to simulate London session. Somebody asked me, can you go through a simulation of London session? How would you approach London session? Because everybody don't trade New York session in the group. Everybody don't do that. So they like the group chat be moving 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So I was gonna go through that as well. But basically, all you basically need to do is look at the most recent high or recent low to see if the structure is being broken. So right here, that's a high right there. It broke and it came back into it. Now, when it comes to a breaker structure, it don't have to break major structure. What do I mean by major structure? Like breaking this high, and then coming all the way back here, coming all the way back down here. It don't have to do that, because on the smaller time frames, it's going to be breaking structure before it looks more clear on a 15-minute chart or the 1 hour chart. It's just going to look way more cleaner on the lower time frames. Okay, so let me take this off. I'm going to go to another setup. So right here, in situations like this, you got two gaps that's sitting there at the bottom. But when they exploded, what do? They broke structure right here. And this is also liquidity, but I'm just going to put the cash money sign right here. So this is a swing high right here. Now, this is a major swing high. Okay, it rallied all the way up and came right back down. Now, if we would prepare for this right here, we would have our zone marked up exactly like this. We'll wait for that. Okay, it got blasted through. We'll take the zone off. And the only zone left is the lowest low. Okay, so these are the ones that I really like, is when that's the last candle or there's no price action up under it. Like this is the only candle we can work off of, because we have no choice but to take this setup because that's the lowest one. So this is like the setups that I love. But you see how it just broke some highs right there and then it started going back up. I have like so many setups of this, but you're gonna start seeing that like a breaker structure is essential, but it's not needed. But it definitely will give you some confidence in taking the setup. So right here, we got aggressive buying coming out this area. If you have your zone marked up right here, it never tapped back into it. It gave you a little pullback, but they still left that gap from right here to here. Now, once they left that little gap and they start breaking major structure, because when they came back right here, they didn't break any structure at all. They didn't break any structure at all until they did these two impulse candles right here, these two green candles. And then we got a major breaker structure right there. And then it came back and it literally tapped right into that demand and it took off. That's going to give you confidence to take that buy, because we're still continuing a trend. If they don't break the low, then that's a lower high, which means it want to go up. So if it's following market structure, if this low never breaks this low, then it has to go up. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I say, well, that's why I created the rule. If it breaks the low of that demand, then it's invalid. Then we're not looking at it. But if it holds and don't break this low right here, which this will be the demand, then it should continue up. This is with low probability and high probability. Okay, so right here, we got a breaker structure right here, breaking this high, and it came right back down to that demand, and then it starts shooting up. Okay, same thing for our supply. Now, this extra little breaker structure, that counts. Okay, this is a lower low, lower high. So right here, let me put the cash money sign right there. So it broke that low right there. Now, if we're looking at the top, what do we have at the top? We have a high probability supply sitting right there at the top. And this is a little bit after London. But this is like the beautiful setup right here. We got a breaker structure and we have a high probability supply sitting right at the top. Let's just take it, you know what I'm saying? Because we're continuing a trend. I do not want to take counter trend unless it's breaking some structure going the other way. Okay, so I don't know if anybody just only take these type of setups, but like these are the best setups possible if you have a breaker structure with the high probability setup. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, because like some setups that we take, they don't be having no breaker structure. We're just continuing with the move. But once it do have a breaker structure, it just increases the chance of you winning that trade. Now, I'm not going to lie to y'all, like say, oh, if we got a breaker structure, it's always going to win. Hell no. Like if that's the case, we'll all be rich. But this is just something that you can just add on to it. Or if you already been doing this, then cool. But people that haven't been paying attention to a breaker structure, that's important as well. I don't talk too much about it, but it's important. Okay. I kind of been trying to take the setups with the breaker structure, to be honest, and feeling more confident. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So liquidity grab, also a breaker structure. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. Even though the wick may break below it, just pay attention to where it's headed. I actually have a simulation on GJ where if you take a buy right there, it's going to run right into supply. So that's why I say you have to pay attention to where you're headed. Now say if this area right here was just wicks and then we'll be taking a buy. Pay attention to where you're headed, because if it's a supply right in front of you, you want to get out. You want to get out, like, for sure. So I would take the liquidity grab setups, but just know where you're headed. Okay. That's just a major point of that if you want to take liquidity grab setups. So let me go on EU, because EU did this a lot. EU did this a lot. So we have a supply setup right here, and it broke that low. It even closed below, which made it even more better. And then as soon as it came back into that supply, we had a gap from right here, from right there to right there. And that just more confluence to take that sell right there, because it's a gap and we broke some structure, continuing the trend. See, supply and demand, can you show your open? Oh, okay. Was this weak ass, or was it just me? Like, no good setups? It wasn't really no good setups. It wasn't no really good setups at all. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I had to trade GJ, like, and I don't trade GJ. I'm like, damn, like EU is like GU, NAS, SPX. It was literally nothing. So I'm like, okay, I got to switch it up. You got to be able to be flexible with the market, because I mean, we're not promised a setup. Just because we show up don't mean it's going to be a setup. You feel me? Okay, I'm gonna have to take this off, because it's throwing me off. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so this is a breaker structure, and then it comes back into that supply zone, and then we just take the sell. But it's making this breaker structure is kind of like, I don't want to say needed, but it just makes you more confident. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Because if you don't have a breaker structure, like something like this, let me see if it touched the bottom. Let me find one that don't have a breaker structure. Okay, they have a breaker structure. Because these would be the ones, okay, no, that's kind of a breaker structure. Where are they? Oh, that's a breaker structure as well. Try to find one, because like these are the setups that we be taking, and most of them don't have a breaker structure. But I just want to show y'all the difference of when they don't have a breaker structure and we're taking it. Like, you're gonna see the difference. Try to find one. I like that one. Nah. Okay, here go a setup right here. So this demand setup right here, in this high probability, let me stretch it out so you can see it. This higher probability EU setup on a demand, if you look at it where the move started, it broke those highs right there. That yellow line, that's a high. It never came back until later in the day. I mean, not later in the day, but this is New York session. So you see the move have a structure being broken with it. You feel what I'm saying? Do you look for breaker structure on a higher time frame? Not really. I'm gonna be honest, not really. If I'm looking at the 1 hour, if I'm at a 1 hour demand, I want to see a breaker structure on the 5 minutes. You take the same setup. I don't want to just, you know what I'm saying, be only taking 1 hour breaker structure and then look at a 5 minute breaker structure. Then no, that's like the most beautiful setup you'll ever get. You probably, you know what I'm saying, like, that's not promised. But okay, here goes a supply setup right here. Now, do this supply setup right here have a breaker structure? No, it do not. It's still in the middle. It still worked out, but you see the one that did have a breaker structure have a runner on it. Oh, and that's another thing. Somebody asked me, how do you know when to leave a runner and when to not leave a runner? That's an impossible question to answer. That's like me knowing exactly what the market's going to do. If I know it's going to be a runner, I will leave a runner. That's why I say, like, just, it depends. Do you want to leave a runner on every situation? Do you only want to leave runners on higher time frame setups with confluence of that? It just depends. I can't just say, oh, when it's a 15-minute demand, leave a runner. I can't say that because I don't know what's going to happen. We're just following our rules. You feel what I'm saying? So it's kind of up to you. How do you want to leave a runner? Do you want to leave a runner on every single setup? Do you only want to leave a runner when we're going with the trend? Do you want to leave a runner when it's reversals, etc.? You know what I'm saying? When you leave a runner, where you're placing your stop loss? I'm putting it in profit for one. For sure, I'm putting it in profit. Can you follow structure on a higher time frame and then can help you filter out supply and demand setups? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If we're at a 1 hour, say if we're on a downtrend on a 1 hour, but on a 1 hour we're at a swing low. Now, if you're at a swing low, that means we're at the lowest point of that downtrend, which means it want to go up. If I see a 5-minute demand happening, I'm just following the pullback of that 1 hour. I hope that makes sense. So if I see a 5-minute demand breaking structure to the upside, but on the 1 hour we're at a swing low, I would take that demand because we're already on a downtrend, but this is just a pullback on the 1 hour chart. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, you just got to know exactly what the other time frames are doing before you take a 5-minute setup, because 5 minutes is only pushing the higher time frame. Let me go to another setup, but y'all see what I'm saying right here. Like, this is a breaking structure. It broke that high, never came back, played around a little bit, finally tapped into it, and then took off. And this is actually on a Wednesday, by the way. And this is another thing. One more time, please. One more time, what? One more time, what? I don't want to go too fast and get to talking and shit. A swing low setup. What did you just say about the 1 hour? Okay, let me go to a 1 hour. I'm gonna go to a 1 hour setup. I think it's GU. Yeah. Okay. So if I now okay, this is a perfect example right here. If we're looking at this, and I'm gonna put a trend line on for people that just, you know what I'm saying, use trend lines or whatever. I'm gonna put a trend line on this. This is not how I trade, but I'm gonna put a trend line on it because this looks like a downtrend. We're breaking structure to the downside. Now, if I'm looking at this, I don't see no structure on a higher time frame saying that this is bullish. I'm bearish. However, we're at a low. The market will not continue to drop. Like, when it's dropping, understand that a correction is coming. That's just how the market moves. It moves in waves. So if I'm on a downtrend on the 1 hour and we have gaps above and we're consolidating at the bottom of that swing low, a reversal is bound to happen. Now, if I go to the 5-minute chart, I should be expecting a break of structure to the upside to fill in those gaps far as being a pullback on a 1 hour. So let me go to the 5-minute chart right here. And we know that this is a 1 hour downtrend. Okay. Now let me fast forward. Let me turn, is this on? Okay, so this is 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. So this is London session right here. So let me fast forward. And I need to break a structure or something just to know if I want to take a buy or not. Okay, so this is London session. This is London session. Fast forward. Now, if I'm looking at this, I see two setups. I see a demand setup right here, and I see a demand setup right here. Now, let's put the line chart on. If I put the line chart on, we are breaking this high right there. Okay. We're breaking that high. Now, we haven't broke this high yet to really be convinced that this is reversing up, but this is a swing high right here as well. So let me put the line chart back on. And what I see right here, off rip, we got a demand right here and a demand right there. So I'm going to mark that up and I'm going to see which one get respected. Okay. Let me fast forward. Okay. Now this first one got disrespected. That's why we have to prepare for both, because we don't know whether that first demand is going to hold or that second demand is going to hold. We just don't know. Let's glance back at the 1 hour just so we can know where we at. Now we got gaps above. We're at a swing low on the downtrend. We got a swing low on a downtrend. I got to emphasize that because people be thinking, oh, we're on a downtrend, it's going to keep dropping. They still have to pull back. Even on a 5-minute, it have to pull back, you know what I'm saying, et cetera. And we have gaps above. Let's go back to the 5-minute. And we're tapping into a demand right here. Now, why did I draw like this is because that's where the gap was left at. I can draw out the gap from right here. It's right there. That's where the gap was at, in between those lines. Now, let me take this off. No, facts. No, this is a high probability, bro. This is high probability. This is high probability. That green candle still have a gap right there. All right. So we got to break a structure right here. This swing high right here was a break of structure. It didn't break that high, but that's why I said the most recent high need to be broken so we can be convinced like, okay, they may be ready to reverse because this looked like a downtrend. This looked like a downtrend, but we're consolidating and we're breaking structure to the upside. So this is the demand right here. Okay, that had to be news. That's crazy. Unless London is like this. I don't trade London, but if this not news, then London is golden for sure. But right here, that'll be our entry. Now, let's fast forward. Let's fast forward. Now let's look at the 1 hour. Let's see what the 1 hour is looking like. Now, look at the 1 hour correcting itself. We still know that this is a downtrend. We still know that this is a downtrend, but this is just a regular pullback on a 1 hour chart. Now, let's go to the next day. Let's go to the next day because this is London session. I'm gonna take this stuff off because I will only trade London session as far as taking my setups. It's either London or New York. I'm not trading in between no weird times, no agent session. I'm not doing that. Okay, so fast forward. It's not 3 o'clock yet. Okay, so we clearly see it's breaking structure to the upside. The only way we're going to take a sell is if it breaks some structure to the downside. That's the only way. Okay, now we're in the red area. Now let's go back to the 1 hour chart. Let's go back to the 1 hour chart. Now, this right here, it definitely broke some structure to the upside. Do we know it's just going to be continually? I mean, do we know that it's going to be an uptrend just because we broke structure to the 1 hour? No, not yet. It's still, that's why I said you got to master market structure. If we don't break this low right here, down here, then it's an uptrend. It's changing to an uptrend. So it should go just like this. If it's following market structure, it should break that high right there, come back, don't break this low, and continue up. That's market structure following these rules. Now, right here, I'm still thinking it's a downtrend until we hold up in this area. If we hold in that area, then we're probably reversing, going to uptrend for sure. You ever back tested without the bar replay? Yeah, all the time. So yeah, so I'm not convinced that this is just an uptrend right now. It have to hold, and then we got to break some more structure. So it have to hold right here, and then we got to break that high as well for me to be convinced that this is an uptrend now. It's not a downtrend. So let me take this off. If I'm looking at the 1 hour, we have a demand. Take this off. We have a demand right here that's sitting literally right here. Will it get tapped into? I don't know, but we're just gonna see. If it don't tap into it, and we're just trying to trade GJ on London session, we have to trade what we see. So I don't see anything on 1 hour. I can go to the 4 hour and see what the 4 hour looking like. This kind of look the same. Take this stuff off. Kind of look the same, not too much. Okay, let's go to the 15 minute. Let's go back to the 5 minute and see if we can see something. I don't know. But again, it's not promised that it's going to tap into that supply that's sitting all the way up at the top. It's just not promised. Now, if I'm looking at this, we still continuing the trend, but we got, see this situation right here, we got two breaks of structure at the same time. So if you can see it, I'm gonna put the line chart on. If you can see it, we have a swing low being broken and a swing high being broken. So I'm gonna put lines on both of those right there and right here. So breaking structures to the downside, that's being broken. And then we have a swing high being broken too. So which one do we go with? I would take both. I'm not gonna lie. Now, let me see. This is a demand right here. This is a demand literally sitting right here and it's lining up perfectly with London Open. So let's just see what happens. Okay, that'll be our entry right there off of that. And if I'm looking at the top, that's why I say you have to pay attention to what you're headed to. I also see a supply literally sitting right here. So if I see a supply sitting right here, I'm prepping for something to happen. Now, if it blasts right through it, then we're holding. We're literally holding right there. You know, the line chart will let you know what's really going on. So this is swing high being broken. That's a demand sitting at the bottom. It taps into a demand. That'll be our entry. And we also have supply sitting right there. So I would definitely get out. Or if you want to try to risk it and see if you can blast right through it, move your stop loss up. Don't try to pray for something, you know what I'm saying? Don't try to hope that it'll break through. So let's fast forward. Okay, now it tapped into the supply. Now let's take this zone off. Now remember, they both had a break of structure. It's hella gaps below because we've been pushing up for so long. So is this a legit supply setup? Absolutely. They both broke structure at the same time. So we have a structure being broken right here. Now let's see if this holds. Okay. Okay. Now those two candles, you feel me? They held. Let me fast forward. What the hell happened? Fast forward. Oh, shit. Okay. So I see like it's probably just mirroring what happened yesterday. But you see what happened. As soon as we got a break of structure, it let us know. Then what happened again? Another break of structure right here. Then what happened again? Another break of structure. Another break of structure. Another break of structure. It's like a step. It's like a stepping. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're breaking. We're going down. You need to. Well, and I ain't gonna say you need to, but I would recommend if you want to take supply and demand setups, look at if it's breaking structure. If it's not breaking structure, don't be afraid to not take it, because I'm still taking setups if it's not breaking a structure, because supply and demand happens even in ranges. Even like when it be in between is ranging, it's still gonna be supply and demand. But if you're trying to catch reversals or continuations, pay attention to if it's breaking structure with that supply and demand. It never tapped, as far as this supply right here, it never tapped into this supply right here, but it's still breaking structure. It's not guaranteed that it's going to come all the way back up into your zone. It's just not guaranteed. So let me go back to EU, because EU had a lot of setups. Okay, so this setup actually happened on, what was that? Thursday. Do you leave runners majority of the time? Not really. I haven't really left a lot of runners. The last runner I left, I want to say like 2 weeks ago. I haven't really left runners. I've been scalping. What was up with spreads yesterday? It was a holiday yesterday. So like we didn't trade. We barely got any trades this week, not going to cap, unless you traded Wednesday or you was catching afternoon sessions and indices, because indices was having hella good setups in the afternoon, which is irritating. But okay, so right here, this actually happened on Thursday. Yeah, this happened on Thursday. EU just dropping. Now we're dropping, but the only confirmation to take this demand setup is this swing high being broken, which is also a break of structure. It broke, came back into that demand. Beautiful setup. This was easy. So you follow structure off the line chart and base off of swing highs and swing lows. No. I look at the line chart to confirm if this is like a legit one. I would still go by the wicks. That's just how I do it. I do it by the wicks. Like if it's just a little bit higher and it comes back into my demand, I'll take it. I'll still take it. But it's better even if the candles close above. It's even better. I'm not gonna lie. If you see the line chart and it looks something like this and then come back to your demand, that's even better. But is that gonna stop you from taking trades that just wicks above a previous high or wicks below a previous low? Don't be scared to not take that setup. But I'm just saying, like, say if it do close above and it comes back, then you feel me? That's just more ideal. Let me take this off. Okay, well, I already talked about that one. Talk about that one as well. Okay, right here, perfect. Now this one right here, this is a low probability setup right here. This is low probability, but pay attention to where they came back to. This is where the aggressive buying came from. There's no gap on this, by the way. No gap on this, but you see where this got respected at. That candle right there got respected. And you could make your zone larger because this is low probability. So it could have jumped around a little bit anywhere up in here. But you see, it still followed market structure. Let me put this up. So right here, it broke structure, came back. Now, again, like I said, if it would have went down like that, we're not even taking buys no more. But since it held that that lower high right there, it continued up, continuing the trend, just like this one right here. Take this off. So right here, this demand that's sitting literally right here, what did this candle do? Closed above. This is a swing high right here. That's why I said the most recent high, not just it got to break multiple highs. I'm talking about the recent high. So this high right here got broken, came back into the demand. It would have took the buy literally right here. I think this is like Asian session or something like that. But boom, take that to buy, and then it continued up. You could have taken that little scalp right there. There was a demand on EU, I believe, that you didn't chose to take because it was deep into the demand. Oh yes. What was that? No, that was NAS. That was NAS. Now that NASA that we took, and it was deep into the demand with no break of structure, that was just a risky setup. That's why I was like, no, I'm not even gonna take it. That's why I didn't take it. That NAS setup that it was so deep into demand and it broke the candle, but I'm like, I didn't take it. I'm like, nah, no, we got gaps below, and it's so deep into demand. No, sir, bro. No, sir. So right here, this had a ever traded Asian. No, I wouldn't even recommend. If this is a tough thing because Asian session is the afternoon session and everybody getting off work. Bro, I would just try to do London or New York, bro. And I know London is kind of tough for people on the East Coast. London is ideal far as people that live on the West Coast, but bro, that's tough, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I tried London for a month when I was at my job. Bro, I'm a zombie, bro. I can't do it. So I would recommend London session or New York. You gotta pick one though. It's a give or take. If you're gonna trade in New York, you're probably going to work in the afternoon. Or if you trade in London, you're going to work in the morning. So it just, what are you willing to sacrifice? I just got to say that because I did London. I was a zombie, didn't have a life at all. I wasn't doing shit. So it just, what are you willing to give up just temporarily? Facts. There's no easier way. And if this was the stocks, you'd really be messed up because stocks only be moving like in the morning. So, feel what I'm saying? So there's really no easier way. I'm going to keep it a buck. So right here, this is a low probability setup. Now, people be scared to take the low probability setups, but this also have a break of structure on that. So this right here breaks that high, taps back into it, holds, don't break the low, take the buy. Literally take the buy. It's following structure. It's literally following structure. Same thing for this one. Now, this is a higher probability one. What do? Break that high, that swing high right there, comes back into it, taps into it perfectly, takes off. You should at least get a good 1 to 2, and then reverses. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I wanted to talk about on this webinar. Pay attention to market structure. I really didn't put a lot of emphasis on it, especially when I started the group as far as break of structure, but it's still a big deal. I'm not gonna lie, because like market structure is king. If you're not able to catch reversals, the only thing that you can do is to catch a reversal is see if it's breaking structure. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like this, this is like an inverted head and shoulders. But this still broke structure right here. This move right here broke that swing high right here. Broke that swing high. That's why I be saying like New York have a lot of reversals. London have a lot of breakouts, or it'd be a false move and then it shoot up or shoot down. That's what London do. It's either a breakout, it won't give you opportunity, a false move, reverse, then go the other way. You know what I'm saying? So London is definitely it's a different breed than New York for sure. Okay, so look at this setup right here. Should I use baby pip calculator? You can if you want to. Yeah, you can. Okay, this is another setup. Oh, hold on, we got some questions. What is the perks of entering when the break of the candle versus the candle close above the last candle? I never even preached about the close of the candle. Never preached that at all. I just like the break of the candle so I can know if it really want to go in my favor. But you will get faked out, like no cap. I get faked out. It just depends on what you want to do. Now, again, you can also, I preach about this in my course. You can also enter aggressive. Now, aggressive, you can lose instantly. Like as soon as you hit buy and hit your stop loss, you're done. Can you show an example of breaker structure with the graph on a higher time frame, like 1 hour? Okay, I can do that right after this. Okay, so if we're looking at this now, this is a 1 hour. I mean, this is a 5-minute EU setup, and we have hella swing highs being broken, and it left the gap. Literally sitting at the bottom. We got that swing high being broken. That one, and it played around, and it finally came back into it and tapped, and then reversed, and it kept going up. Okay, right here, I think we actually took this setup. This is a demand setup. And let's go to line chart. Go to line chart. What do we have? We have a swing high literally sitting right here. This is a swing high right here. That's the most recent. That's why I say look at the most recent. The most recent getting broken above, and it tapped. It tapped into our demand. We took this and we set a hella drawdown. But if you pay attention, what do we have sitting above it? We got liquidity sitting right there. That's liquidity sitting right there. So if this demand hold is going to stop these traders out, literally sitting right there. So a breaker structure that is kind of essential. I'm not gonna lie. Now let me try to find a setup. You said on a 1 hour, with the line chart. Okay, I'm about to do that. For supply and demand, if is the candle entering the zone on the second close in the zone or the third one break zone, where do you get in? What do you mean? I'm getting on the very next break. On the very next break of the candle. It's the same every single time. So for right here, if I get in on this setup, let me take this off. If it comes back into my demand, my first entry is going to be literally right here. I'm going to have it literally right there. That's the first break. That's the first tap, and then the next break. It's always tap, break. You feel me? Got to tap into my zone again, and then the next break. Feel what I'm saying? So yeah, let me go on a 1 hour chart. Okay. I'm about to find a 1 hour chart. Don't forget your question, bro. I'm going to go on a 1 hour chart. And then let's see if we can find a setup on a line chart. I don't want to use an example that I already have marked up. Okay. Go to the line chart right here. Okay. So if I'm looking at this, what's the trend? Let me make this more colorful so this can look more appealing. If I'm looking at this, what's the trend? I mean, let me do a replay mode. Hold on. If I'm looking at the 1 hour, what is the trend? Do you pay attention to the chart patterns? Yes and no. Sometimes chart patterns can be fake outs, and like, you know what I'm saying, it can be fake outs. So I just look at market structure and get into my zone. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so if I'm looking at this, we have this is a huge correction. I'm not gonna lie. This had to get filled. So if I'm looking at the current market condition, what do we have? We have a low right here being broken, a low right here being broken. We have lows right here being broken. This low, this high being broken. So just pay attention to what's happening. This high being broken, pull back. Higher low, break a structure, pull back, break a structure, pull back, break a structure. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the candlesticks. And what's crazy is supply and demand is sitting right there at the break of structures. You know what I'm saying? Like right here, this is a demand setup. This is the 1 hour, but I'm pretty sure you can scale down and try to find something up in this area. This is also a break of structure. And this is also a break of structure. These both are a break of structure. So let me take this off. And if I'm looking at this, let me see. Let's go to the 15 minute. Okay, the 15 minute have a demand or actually a supply sitting right here. I don't know if it tapped into it. I got a question that might be confusing. If I could get a chance to unmute, it would be easier to talk about structure on higher time frame. Okay, I got you. So what exactly was the question? Who asked this question? Oh no, you did. Oh no, let me unmute you because I'm still not understanding what exactly do you want me to cover right here. So I'm about to unmute you. You should be able to unmute.
You?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? I just had a question, dude. So it's about structure on the line, like, cause when I use structure, I use the line graph, like off higher time frame. It just helps me filter out like supply and demand setups.
Okay.
So I was just wondering, like, if you're looking on higher time frames, like, if you could like that chart that you have on right now, if you could just go onto the 1 hour and then just like click the line graph.
Okay.
So like like basic market structures like lower highs, higher lows.
Hmm.
So do you have to like keep it in that range of like lower highs or higher lows to like for me specifically, I like just use that to filter out the setups, or like does it have to break that like lower high or higher low, or does it just have to break that most recent swing high or swing low?
I would say the most recent swing higher, swing low. Um, when it comes to market structure, you definitely wanted to follow its rules. Sometimes if you see something like this, because this is going to happen, that is liquidity grab. That little move right there, and then it keep going. No pullback. Like we don't get a pullback right here. So stuff like this is going to happen. But we definitely want to see a pullback on that liquidity grab setup, like this little area right here. We want to see some type of pullback. Now, is it promised? No, but definitely, like if you were looking at the 1 hour, you wanted to break the most recent low and come back to a lower high, lower low, lower high, and then once it make a higher high, now we're looking for higher lows, and we wanted to follow that structure. Is it going to do that? No, not all the time, but that's the ideal that we're looking for, as far as structure, for sure.
Okay, I get you. So like in this example, you see where the time is 1800. Like you see that like kind of lower high,
You
like
say
the
18 right here.
yeah. You see how like they make that like somewhat like quote unquote lower high, then it dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at that point I would just put like a horizontal line, like right where that point is, and I would be looking for like supply setups up until that lower high is broken. Like up until
Yep.
like
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because this is already a swing low on a 1 hour. So if we get a break of structure right there and it comes back into it, take the buy. You feel what I'm saying? Take the buy and then look left to see if it's some gaps or if we have supply up in this area right here. Anywhere up in this area supply, I would try to like get out. But this is still the 1 hour. So we're gonna want to see some type of 5 minute or even a 15-minute setup up in this area to continue on that break of structure on the 1 hour. So yeah, you're right. You're
yes,
right.
sir, sir. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. I love supply and demand. All right, at break structure. Yep. I hope that cleared anything up for somebody. I hope that just made so much sense. Do anybody have any questions though before because I had actually I wanted to show y'all this. I had some 1 hour, no, some 15-minute setups on gold. This stuff is still going to be the same thing. It's still going to be the same thing if you want to do this on a 30-minute chart, a 5-minute chart. Some people be trading the 1-minute chart, which I don't like that. I don't like the 1-minute chart. It's just too noisy for me, so I don't even look at it. But can you show your settings? I want to have the same setting. It's this the settings right here. I made this transparent, which is the open and the close, and I just have the high and the low. That's literally it. So this is my inputs as far as an indicator. Do you still recommend a pip go? Yeah, if I stopped doing the pip go when I start trading indices. When I start trading indices, it went out the window because I'm catching so many pips on small moves. So I was like, no, I'm good. Now, if you're trading just Forex pairs, I would have a pip go, but it just depends on if that's what you want to do. I threw the pip go stuff out the window once I started trading NAS consistently in SPX. I'm just like, I'm over it, bro, because I'm just catching so many pips just off of a small ass move. I'm cool. But yeah, questions. Yeah, that was all the questions. I just definitely want to just talk about the breaker structure, not on cat. Like that was just like the major thing I want to talk about today. Can you show the Patty trading session settings? Okay. I have London on. And okay, so I'm in New York. I'm in Eastern Standard Time. New York Stock Exchange open at 9:30, and I try to not take any trades between 9:30 and 9:45. Sometimes sales will happen around 9:40, so I'll take that. But other than that, I don't be trying to take no setups in between 9:30 and 9:40. Asian session 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. and then New York session 8 to 12. Do you think you can go over supply setup I took on SPX where I lost before I won? Okay, let's go to it. Go to it. What day was that? What day was that? Oh, you talking about this setup? No. Are you talking about this setup right here? Because this setup, I was so mad. I had it marked up and never took it. This supply setup right here, as far as this. I don't know if you're talking about this, but okay, cool. Now, this right here, you probably, I hope you didn't draw your box like this. No, sir, because no, I had my box drawn out just like this. And when I had my box drawn out just like this, it literally never tapped into it until it came right here. And I'm like, damn, it literally tapped into it, gave us the entry, could have sold literally right there. Look left to see where areas to fill. And look, we got a gap right here that needed to get filled, like something like that, that could have got filled. But this was literally textbook. I was iffy about it because we literally had a supply setup literally sitting right above it. That's why you can't be, if you have a supply that's above it or you have a demand that's below yours, don't be afraid to take it, bro. I had this marked up, but I don't even know why I didn't take it. I think I was like in the kitchen or something doing something. But basically, these type of setups, you're going to be very iffy about it. Like, trust me, because it's like, okay, what if this just blasts right through it, filling that gap, then drop? You got to be willing to take that risk, or you're going to miss out on setups like this. You feel what I'm saying? Because like this stuff like this is going to happen where you have a supply literally sitting right above you, and you like, damn, okay, should I take it? Should I not take it? You feel me? And then if you're looking at this, this is also a break of structure. So what do we have right here? This low right here. Let me stretch this out. This low right here is being broken. That low being broken. Came back into it, drop. Feel what I'm saying? So market structure is definitely like a major key, bro. Far as this setup. Can I get on mute? I have to ask Spider-Man question. Okay. John, where are you at? Where you? Oh, okay. I'm looking like where you at? Okay. You should be able to unmute.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so my question is, you know how for the supply and demand, you have to wait for it to tap into the zone and then break the wick. All right, so say if it taps into the zone, right? And then the second candle, instead of like breaking through the zone and closing, say if it closes inside of the zone and that third candle breaks through the zone, where are you entering?
Do you have a setup on that? I mean, I already talked about this, but if it closes into the zone, don't be afraid to like not take the setup. But do you got a screenshot of that setup?
I mean, I can definitely find one and just send it on Discord and we can just
Okay.
go over it like that.
But I could just answer it. So if a candle closes inside your supply or demand zone and it's starting to break above, take the buy, or if it's breaking below, take the sell. It's
As
literally.
soon as it get out of the zone.
Oh, you talking about if it leaves the zone? Oh,
Yeah, like
if
say if it's like an evening star
okay.
and it's like the middle candle is inside of the zone and that third candle is breaking through.
Oh, okay. If you want to do that's something that you created. I'm not gonna lie. This is something that you literally created. You can do that. Like if you just so like iffy about it and you got your zone marked up, only have like so say a demand setup happen, have a sale stop right when it's exploding. You can do that. You can do that if you want to, but understand, okay, where's your stop loss at? The stop loss have to make sense. Okay, now that's why I ignore supply and demand setup if it's too deep into my demand. If it's damn near like a couple pips from my the low of my demand box, I'll be a little iffy about it. Like, bro, hell no, I don't know. Same thing for our supply. If supply comes a little bit too high and it's up in here and I get a break, I don't know. Now, say if we use what you just was talking about, say if I had a sell stop literally right here, and I'm only gonna take a sell if it leaves that area, that's smart. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just something smart to do to filter out the fake outs because fake outs are gonna happen. Like you can't avoid it. There's no way we can avoid it. Like if we could, we wouldn't even trade the fake out. So yeah, that's definitely something that you can use though for sure.
All right, but I'm gonna send a setup that I was referring to in the Discord a little bit later if I find one.
Okay, all right, better. All right. So what if a 1 hour supply was above a 5-minute supply? Would you still consider the 5-minute if there's a gap on the 1 hour? The only way I would consider a 5-minute supply, even though we have a gap literally above that's about to tap into the 1 hour supply, I need a major structure being broken. I need a major structure being broken. Why wouldn't you use 2 candles there if both had gaps? You talking about right here? You talking about like right here, like that? HHDD. Why wouldn't I use that? I wouldn't use that because we have hella gaps above. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, what if I have hella gaps above, I want my box to be very precise. I don't want to have a big box when I have gaps that's sitting above. I want to have the smallest box as possible. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I want the smallest box as possible. I don't want a big box, because if I have a big box, in some way, shape, or form, I'm kind of forcing this setup. You feel what I'm saying? Like, bigger boxes for our supply and demand, those are not ideal. We want a small box. We want we want it to be as small as possible. We don't want it to be big. What symbols do you use on TradingView? Wanda? No, I use FXCM. I use FXCM. So if there was 2 candles above, you would make it bigger. What do you mean 2 candles above? What are you talking about? Like if it reversed. You talking about in this box or this box? I'm about to unmute you, bro.
Yo, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, not my fault. What I'm saying is basically like, you know how you said the one at the top is the more precise one? That was the one you was waiting for. That's why you didn't take this setup.
Yeah.
Like, if it would have been reversed, like let's say the one at the top had 2 of those up candles, would you have made it bigger since it's at the top? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you talking about,
say sometimes it don't come back to the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So if I'm at the very top, I would use the last 2. If it's there, I would definitely use the last 2. Definitely.
Okay.
Like if this candle was broken up into 2 candles, and the box is going to be still the same size, but it's just broken up into 2 candles, I would still have the last 2 candles just in case it never tap into the highest point, because that's going to happen.
Okay, so for future reference, like if there's supply at the top or like just more gaps above, just make the zone smaller in general, because you might get faked out, right?
Yep,
like
absolutely.
Make it bigger. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Shout out to Stress for Mass Positive chat. Yep, yeah, for sure. Anybody got any questions though? Today webinar was strictly about market structure and just spotting supply and demand. This is the same setup that a lot of y'all took on, what was that? Well, I want to say Tuesday or Thursday, I'm not sure, but this is pre-market. Look at the setup. A break of structure with that candle, came back into it, sell. Same thing what happened on NAS. Should we take demand setups on yesterday's low? Is it risky? You can, because those highs and lows, those are reversal areas. Like, those are areas that's going to reverse from. So, like, same for this. This had a break of structure as well. If you go to line chart, highs, broke that high, came back into it. This is so ideal. This is on Wednesday. This is just like gorgeous, not gonna lie. But as far as like the highs and lows, you can take demands off of the low, but that's just super risky. You got to know if it's going to really be a reversal or not. But I would definitely want to see a break of structure for sure if I want to take any type of demand on the low or any type of supply at the high. You feel what I'm saying? Look at this one. This is actually low probability, and it never tapped into it. Let me find one. Oh, let me find one right there on the lower or the high. Like stuff like this is a liquidity graph setup, and I don't even know if we're even taking stuff like this, but right here, that's at the high. It literally wicked above and start breaking the low. We should be taking that sell. Now, this right here is also a break of structure. Let's not get this messed up. This is also a break of structure, but look what happens. It just breaks right through it. So if it breaks right through it, it's starting to drop. And then what happens after it breaks the structure of the low right there? It starts dropping. So this is a low right there, another low, drops. But then look what happens when we get another break of structure with a high probability supply sitting at the top. What do? Taps right back into it, drop, because we got another break of structure. So just pay attention, like, to break of structure. Like, if you backtest this weekend, pay attention to the break of structure. If you see a high probability supply sitting at the top, see a break of structure, even the demand, just pay attention to the break of structure. Do you ever draw boxes for a breaker block? I don't know what that is. I ain't gonna lie. But anybody got any questions though? Have you ever looked at indices breaking structure with a strong candle at the open? That's the main thing that happens. I'm not gonna lie. That's the main thing that happens. At the open, it's always a major breaker structure or it's a fake out. So when it comes to indices, pay attention to what happened at 9:30. It's either going to be a continuation or a reversal. That's the only thing that can happen. So what do this do? This drop below, shoots up. That's why I got that little area marked up. What do this do? Have a gap, didn't fill it in, then came back and filled it in. This was just absolutely terrible. I ain't gonna lie. But what was that day that we took? Like right here at that low, start shooting up. Another break of structure. If you can't see the structure, put the line chart on. It broke this high right there. And then put that on. And then all it did was came back to that demand. And then it won. And then this one had a break of structure as well, right here. This one had a break of structure as well. And then what did it do? Tap right back into that demand, both of those demands. But it was a temporary reversal. Then it finally started dropping again. So I want to show y'all this one. Okay, like this. This right here, a momentum came back into where they started buying and then it shot up. Same thing with this one. What this one have? A break of structure, really right there. It's the same stuff. But I just want y'all to put a little bit more emphasis on a break of structure, bro. A little bit more emphasis on break of structure. So that's probably gonna be the next week's homework is supply and demand setups, but it must have a break of structure. Like it can't just be just a regular continuation. It gotta have a break of structure with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably gonna be the homework for this week, for sure. But I wanna see that one set that we took that it had a good runner, because these are the ideal ones. Where is it at? Like even this demand right here, it had a break of structure. Let's go to line chart. What do we have right here? You gotta look back too. So let me take this off. You gotta look back. So we had a break of structure right here and right here. So if we're following market structure, it should come back into our zone and reverse. And what do? Come back to the zone and reverse. But that's still the New York Stock Exchange, but it's still following the rules as far as market structure. I just want to find that one setup that we had that was just so beautiful. Where is it at? Oh, right here. Okay, perfect. Let's take everything off. This is probably the most ideal setup for us, supply and demand with market structure break. So we have, we all took this, but this is just like the best example possible. So we have a swing high right here, broke that swing high, came right back into the demand, took off, boom. That is probably the most cleanest and the most beautiful setup we will ever see, is it happening literally right at the open. Like this is like what, 945, 950. And then we got a break of structure, came right back to it, wicked off of it, took off. That's ideal. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's literally ideal once we get a break of structure with it. So yeah, like I don't know if I'm just only gonna focus on a break of structure, but definitely just take that to account when you're taking supply and demand setups. And it's gonna build confidence too. Because if we're taking reversals, we only want to see a break of structure before we take that reversal, and vice versa, or even a continuation. We want to just see a pullback. So that's all I got on this webinar. Do we got any last questions though? I just wanted to talk about that today, for sure. Any tips for trading London session? London session. Expect a lot of reversals and moves taken off without you. I'm not gonna lie. I traded London session for like a month. And it was just a lot of breakouts. So is it a pullback? Is a pullback going to happen in London session? It's not promised. It takes off a lot. London leave way more runners than New York, so you got to be prepared for that, to leave some runners, especially if you want to go to sleep and wake up and profit. Like, so me personally, if I was trading London session, I would mainly just trade pound pairs. You can trade indices too, but it's a little bit different though. I ain't gonna lie. So I would just stick to pound pairs like GJ, GU, or EJ, etc. And just trade what you see and still look at the 1 hour chart, etc. Yeah, GA is good too. I don't know about like GBP, CHF and stuff like that, but definitely GJ, GA. GU, honestly, I probably wouldn't even trade GU on London because I don't even want to mess with no major pairs during London session. So I'll just rock with just minor pairs and pound pairs for sure. But I hope this made sense to anybody on here that just, you know what I'm saying, we taking supply and demand setups, but we're not even considering breaker structure. Breaker structure is important, not gonna lie. So yeah, that's about it, man. Next week we're gonna have homework on just breaker structure, supply and demand setups. That's gonna be next week's homework. I do want to say this. April 30th, I have to cancel the webinar. I have a flight to Miami Saturday morning, or I believe it's Saturday afternoon. I haven't booked the flight yet, but April 30th, I'm not going to be on the webinar because I have to catch a flight, and it's just it's a worldly stuff and personal stuff I have to handle. So April 30th, I'm not gonna be able to do a webinar. But are you taking all your stuff? I'm not taking everything. Hell no. I want new shit. I'm not taking everything, but I'm just gonna take stuff that I need, like my desk, until I get a new desk and stuff like that. But all right, man. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta summarize this week before I get off. This week, I've probably never seen so many days with no setups. I ain't gonna lie. Like Tuesday, barely had any setup. Monday was a pre-market setup. Friday, I had to trade. No, not Friday, but Thursday, I had to trade GJ out of nowhere. That was super random. So like this week was like kind of a little bit weird, unless you traded Wednesday. Wednesday had some good setups, and if you was super patient. So we're just doing the same thing next week, and we avoiding news. I ain't gonna lie, like I'm not trading news. Some of y'all be trading news. Some of y'all be trading the open. Y'all can have fun with that, bro. But yeah, that's all I got on this webinar, man. Y'all have a good weekend, and I'll see y'all in the chat, bro. Peace.